These little hills that we see on this hillside are actually part of a watershed. We were able to mitigate stormwater by putting the nursery here, and it just seemed like it was such a win-win. I'm Philip Grushka. I'm the retired director of horticulture and forestry for the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. This morning we're out here in Fezziwood Grove. It's quite an interesting research project.
Everyone asks, where did the name Fezziwig come up? There is a really dedicated donor named Tor who is very passionate about the future of the trees. Tor picked Fezziwig based off of the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol. It's sort of the protagonist against Ebenezer Scrooge. He had really great business models, and the way that he approached the world was just a lot better than Ebenezer Scrooge.
Jackie works this park. It's adjacent to sites where she already has to go to. And we knew that this hillside that the project is on was a part of a watershed that was causing significant flooding issues on the Carnegie Mellon University campus. So we were able to mitigate stormwater by putting the nursery here and then being able to have the trees here as well. It's a great location, bring all that together right here. We took the list of species that we have growing in Pittsburgh, and we ran that through the Forest Service model to see which of our species would be threatened by climate change over the next 100 years. What I found out is that yellowwood is a species that is native south of Pittsburgh. So with global warming, would that not be a good species to look at trying to propagate and then be able to maybe generate a product that the nursery industry could produce on a mass scale and be able to plant back into our urban forest? We're only a couple years into data collection on this, and so we don't want to prejudge any of these seedlings that are here. We want it to run the full term. I don't see any in here that we would rogue out at this point in time. We're going to let them all rock and roll and then make our decisions. The project has a 10-year timeline and budget associated to it. When we get to the end of this study, we're going to have at least a handful of candidate trees for our nursery industry to explore further.
The data that I collect over the seasons are three things. I look at bud break. We are looking for trees that break bud later in the spring so they can deal with frost a little bit better than ones that will break earlier. And then we're looking at form. Yellowwood trees, it has more of like an upright vase-shaped form.
The more stem that we have before they develop significant branch habit is ideal for a nurseryman, because they would have to be cutting all these branches off, and it's starting to demonstrate right here that the crown is going to be here and higher up.
Trees with a little bit of bad form would be like this guy over here. Do you see how closely branched it is? It doesn't have that nice vase-shaped form. And then the last thing is height, which I don't think is like the most important thing, but it's good to know like how far they're progressing from the planting to, the end date. And my biggest one this year is 72 inches. So that's the rock star of this year. Everyone wants to know what exactly is going to happen to these trees. We're hoping that the ones that are our best competitors can start to be bred by the tree nursery industry. And for the underdogs out there, we're not going to waste them. I think we're going to try to put them in the woodlands.
When you think about trees and their lifespan, urban foresters need to be planning for not the next 100, but for the 100 after that. And for future generations that are going to live in the Pittsburgh area, they're going to want to be able to enjoy their urban forest as much as the current residents do. And that's why us working on this Yellowwood project is really important. I'll never see it. You'll never see it. Anybody watching this video will never see it. But it will happen, and it is important. The mission statement for the Parks Conservancy is restoring the park system to excellence in partnership with the city and residents. That's not exactly how it's worded, but that's Phil's take on what it means. I think we're not going to realize that benefit until a long time from now. And this is the type of work that my team always embraced, and on a day-to-day basis, working to achieve excellence in everything you do. And it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to live it.
This video is made possible thanks to the Margaret Ritchie R. Battle Family Charitable Fund.